Alright, here's a brief introduction to this little mount for this Mmu buffer. Basically, this is an IKEA lac enclosure. It's a double stack version, and I have up here all of the filaments are in these little Rubbermaid containers, little dry boxes, and desiccant dome up there at the top because, you know, moist air rises. Up there at the top we have a little mount. These things just slide right into place. The MMU is in the middle. Same pattern over here. And then for this one, I have the little side saddle so that the fifth one can go over here. And then of course, for those of you who want to use this, I have that part mirrored so you can mount it on the left side of your enclosure if you want. All right, now for the Mmu buffer. This is the new part that I've just added. Basically, this buffer has this very easy to release little hook latch. And even though it's in use right now, you can see how the filament goes. Basically, the filament comes in intentionally with a curve so that when it gets pushed back and released, it's going to go down inside of all these little grooves. Black is being used currently. The red is the other one that's idle in the machine, not currently being used. And the other ones, that's where they have sat after they got loaded. It was kind of neat because when you load the MMU, it pushes back on the filament just a little bit, and it's just enough to get it recessed into these little spots so that when you push this thing back up, everything goes nice and neat where it belongs. Basically, the way that I would load one of these things is if I had new filament that I was trying to load, this tube would be detached. The filament would come in, get shoved all the way up through this tube, get poking out through here. I basically grab it, start pushing it through into there, and then load the MMU. It recesses itself down just a little bit, just like these ones did right down here. And then you can just slide this thing right up, click it into place, and it's done. All right, some of the design aspects of this, I intentionally used these types of adapters as opposed to the pass-through because sometimes the MMU, if a filament gets jammed, if it gets tangled, twisted, jammed up, twisted up on the spool inside of here, it can cause problems where it's pulling on the filament so hard that the tubes, when I had them coming as pass-throughs back through here, they would just get shoved. Those PTFE tubes would get shoved all the way back until they would end up touching up against these tubes, and that's not good. So I switched them out to using these types of adapters so that they stay locked into position. But then you need to cut little tiny, like 1-inch PTFE tubes that just slip right into here. And the ones that I'm using are roughly about maybe an inch long, 3-4 centimeters. You don't want them to be that long. I'm using the ones that are 4 millimeters on the outer diameter, but 3 millimeters on the inner diameter, so that they don't create any real resistance. It also makes it easier when you're loading the filament in the back there.